What up, Bucs fans, NFL fans, and betting fans? Welcome to week 5 of Pewter Picks and Props for the NFL. My name is Matt Matera. I am with PewterReport.com, and Pewter Picks and Props is presented by Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use the promo code Pewter, that's Pewter, and get a first deposit bonus at Underdog Fantasy so you can play all the great games that they have over there, whether it's the Pick'ems, which I do every week for Bucs games. Their in-season tournaments. They have a lot of different tournaments and prizes that you can win. And, of course, the Rivals as well is so much fun where you pick one player from one team. You think that player is going to get more stats or better yardage than an opponent on the other team. And it's a great way to stay invested with an NFL game, especially if your team isn't playing this week, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Underdog Fantasy, use that promo code Pewter, that's Pewter. Show's going to be a little bit different this week because the Bucs are not playing. They have the bye week as they head into it 3-1 on the season after defeating the New Orleans Saints by a score of 26-9 to move into first place in the NFC South. But don't you worry, Pewter people and Bucs fans and gambling fans, because there's still a whole slate of NFL games to get to. I have 5 picks this week that I'm very excited about, and I just want to keep it rolling because my record is great so far to begin the season. As you see on the screen, my NFL picks, which includes the Bucs picks, I'm 18-11-1. So if you've tailed me so far this season, you are putting money in your pocket. My Bucs record finally suffered my first loss. Very devastated about it, but nonetheless, when I'm picking the Bucs spread and the over/under, I'm 7-1 picking Bucs games this season. So excited for next week when they play against the Detroit Lions in the creamsicle game, where I'll be choosing that game again. And my Bucs props, where I'll pick the players, obviously, on the Bucs and their opponents as well. I'm 11-3 with my player props. So riding high right now, riding high. Want to keep it going next week when the Bucs play. But let's get to my NFL picks for this week. I'll throw them on the screen real quick. Let's get that logo out of the way. I got Bengals, Cardinals under 45.5. 49ers -3.5 at home against the Dallas Cowboys. This is a high number as well, but the over of 52.5 for Chiefs Vikings. Then I'm going with a little AFC East action. Patriots -1.5 against the Buccaneer rival New Orleans Saints, who we all just watched last week. And the Jets +2 facing the Denver Broncos in a bit of a, not a rivalry, but obviously some words were exchanged from Sean Payton about Jets offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. So a little bit of bad blood between those two going into this one. But let's get it rolling with the first game that I mentioned, the Bengals and the Cardinals under 45.5. And I think the Bengals, to be quite honest with you, have been one of the biggest surprises this season in a negative aspect. You know, they are 1-3 on the season. Joe Burrow obviously is dealing with that calf injury where he's not 100%. They got absolutely smoked last week against the Tennessee Titans. I believe they lost 27-3. And on the flip side, the Arizona Cardinals have been hanging tough with every opponent that they've played against. Yeah, they got a little steamrolled by the 49ers, but they upset the Cowboys earlier this season. They were beating the Giants pretty well for a half. So the Cardinals have been keeping it way more competitive than most people think. So shout out to Josh Dobbs as well, their quarterback, that's helped them kind of stay afloat in the NFL so far. But I like the under of 45.5 in this game. I still think the Bengals are trying to find their footing as an offense as Joe Burrow works through that calf injury. They are actually 3-1 when it comes to the under this season, and they have twice gone under, the Bengals I'm talking about, when the over-under is at 45 or higher and lower. So with 45.5, you could still get a game that's like 24-20 where the Cardinals keep it close. but that under still hits. The Cardinals are 2-2 with the under hitting this season, but they've never had an over-under that was any higher than 43. So this is the highest number that the Cardinals will be facing against this season. It also kind of depends because the Cardinals defense can allow points. So it's just a matter of whether or not the Bengals offense can get it together. And also what type of defense you'll get from the Bengals. Again, 27 points isn't great by any means, but they've also had games where they've kept it very close and allowing, 15, 19 points. So I think the Bengals defense has a bit of a bounce back against the Cardinals. I like Trey Hendrickson. They got some guys up front that can get to the quarterback. So give me the under of 45.5 in this one. Next game, 49ers -3.5 at home against the Dallas Cowboys. 49ers, it's no secret, are a Super Bowl contender. And Christian McCaffrey is a big part of that reason. The Niners are 3-1 against the spread this season and are 2-0 at home. But the biggest reason why I'm picking the Niners with -3.5 against the Cowboys is the last two times that they've played against Dallas, they've only allowed 12 and 17 points. And the Cowboys offense has struggled to a degree this season. That's why they were upset by the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona just 2 weeks ago. And, the Cowboys had their get-right game last week, smacking the Patriots. But remember, they had a pick six in that game. They might have had 2 defensive touchdowns, but their defense played fantastic. Cowboys have a strong defense. There's no doubt about it, but it's so tough to keep the 49ers offense down for long. You may get them for a series or two, but can you do that for the entire game? I don't necessarily think so. And with the 49ers defense just being so fantastic, I think they're going to obviously game plan to stop CeeDee Lamb. I don't truly trust the Cowboys running game. And if CeeDee Lamb isn't involved, where's Dak Prescott going to go with the football? Again, the Cowboys offense hasn't totally been flawless this season. It's really been the defense that's kind of led the way in this 3-1 start. Someone eventually is going to have to beat the 49ers. I don't think it is going to be this week. So the Sunday night football matchup, everyone's very excited about it. Give me the 49ers -3.5 against the Dallas Cowboys. The next game I'm picking is, again, a very high one, over 52.5 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings. Bit of a desperation game for Minnesota. Only one win on the season. Kirk Cousins has lit up the scoreboard in terms of his stats and yards and everything like that, but it hasn't necessarily meant that the Vikings are winning games. They have a lot of costly turnovers. On the flip side, Kansas City, everyone thought they were going to blow out the Jets on Sunday Night Football last week. Everyone was excited. Taylor Swift was going to be there. That's from the game against the Bears, but she was in attendance for the game against the Jets. And I think NBC really played into it because they thought it was going to be such a blowout. So they're like, all right, let's just talk about Taylor Swift more and more. But the Jets really came to play in that game. So, yeah, the Chiefs won, but they did not win convincingly by any means. They didn't even cover the spread, which was, I believe, 8.5 points. And that was my lock of the week last week. So one of the losses that I suffered. But because of that, you look at Kansas City for their offense. They got to figure out how they're going to move the football outside of Travis Kelce. Now, last game, it was Isaiah Pacheco that ran literally all over the place. But are they going to get more production from Sky Moore or Marquez Valdez-Scantling, the former USF great? I think the Vikings is a great opportunity for the Chiefs to really put up a crooked number. I know they did that against the Bears 2 weeks ago. I think this is another opportunity for them to jump out to a big lead. And then Kirk Cousins is going to sling the ball for Minnesota. The Chiefs are 2-2 against the spread, or sorry, the over-under. They are 0-2, however, with overs that are higher than 50 points. So again, this is a large number, but I'm going to make this my lock of the week. I think something's got to give. Minnesota's averaging 22.5 points per game. The Chiefs are averaging 25.3 points per game. Minnesota's hit the under in 3 out of the 4 games as well. But at some point, those numbers are going to flip. I think it's going to be a little bit of desperation for Minnesota, and they're going to do everything that they possibly can to make sure that they can hang tight with the Chiefs. We've seen Minnesota stay in games against Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago. So I see them keeping it a respectable game against the Chiefs. So give me that high number of 52.5 as my lock of the week. These next 2 games, a little bit risky, but granted, with the opponents that they are playing against, I'm looking at the AFC East, starting off with the Patriots, -1.5 at home against the New Orleans Saints, who the Bucs just played last week. We'll see if Marshawn Lattimore gets punched this week or gets beat badly by a wide receiver once again, because Mike Evans was taking it to Marshawn Lattimore before he got injured in that game. But the reason why I like the Patriots -1.5, their defense can still hang tough with everybody. Last week wasn't the case against Dallas. That was their worst loss in the history of Bill Belichick coaching the New England Patriots. So I think they're going to get a complete bounce back game, starting with that defense. On top of anything else, New Orleans, what are they doing on offense? I mean, we all watch it front and center. Derek Carr is not 100%. He's not going to be 100% this week. He can't throw the ball down the field. He can't throw it more than 10 to 15 yards. I think the Patriots defense will be more than ready to face Taysom Hill if Taysom Hill gets into this game, and they used him a ton. I mean, they don't trust using Jameis Winston in that game, and there is a saying that hungry dogs run faster, and I think the fact that the Patriots lost in an embarrassing fashion last week against the Cowboys, they're going to come out swinging against the New Orleans Saints. By the way, the Saints have yet to cover the spread this season. They are 0-3-1. They had one push against the spread. They lost it against the Bucs last week. So I think that train's going to continue to roll. I don't think the Saints are going to cover again. Their defense is great, but so is the Patriots defense. And I think somehow, some way, New England ends up finding a way to put some points up on the board. It may not be pretty. This could be a 7-6 game for all we know. Actually, I wouldn't want that because that wouldn't cover the spread. This could be a 10-7 game and be ugly, but all you have to do is cover. And it's -1.5. So if the Patriots win by 2, you would end up walking away with some money. My last pick of the week, bit of a surprise because I've been extremely critical of Zach Wilson. I thought the Jets were going to get waxed by the Kansas City Chiefs last week, but they came to play. Got to give a shout out to Zach Wilson. I was really, really tough on him, but he looked to have turned a corner last week. He kind of figured it out. I think they just kind of said, screw it, let him be Brett Favre running around in his Wrangler jeans or in the backyard, just chucking it all over the place. And I kind of think that's the mentality that Zach Wilson has to have against the Denver Broncos, who have one of the worst defenses in the league. And Denver is another team that has not yet covered against the spread. Just like the Saints, they are also 0-3-1. Remember, they only have one win on the season, and that was a furious comeback against the Chicago Bears. The Broncos are a bad team. The Jets at least have an elite defense. I would put them top 3 in the league. So I don't see, Russell Wilson moving the football at all against this Jets defense. The Jets are 2-2 against the spread. Zach Wilson, what type of performance are we going to get from him? Is it the guy the previous 2 weeks that was absolutely terrible and was afraid to throw the football forward? Or was it Zach Wilson in the second half against Kansas City where he looked like the next Aaron Rodgers? He's got all the talent, but mentally, there was some type of block for him. It looks like that Zach Wilson got through it on Sunday night in prime time in front of Taylor Swift, in front of the Chiefs, and all of America watching. I think Zach doesn't flourish as much as I think everyone expects him to do against the Denver Broncos, but I don't see Denver scoring more than 10 points in this game. I think the Jets, who they announced there's not going to be a rushing limit on the amount of rushing attempts that Breece Hall is going to get. I think, Breece going back to Denver, that's where he tore his ACL that ended his rookie season. And Breece Hall was well on his way to winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, which ended up going to Garrett Wilson, the very talented wide receiver. If I was going to do a prop bet, I would do anytime touchdown Breece Hall because of the little history there, because the Jets are going to want to run up the score with Nathaniel Hackett and everything that Sean Payton had said about him. Give me the Jets defense shutting down the Broncos offense and Zach Wilson reaching the end zone a time or two, throwing the football, airing it out, building up that confidence because he's got the talent, but does he have the other aspect of the game? I think the Jets win this game outright. I would take them money line, but I'm going to take the points on this one, +2. This is a must-win game for the Jets. They're 1-3. They play the Eagles next week. If they get to 2-3, you can make the case that, all right, well, if Aaron Rodgers ever comes back, this is what they can do with this team, but you have to win. I think Denver, no matter what, their season's done. They play the Chiefs next week on Thursday. Peter King was talking a lot about, even if the Broncos were to win, it doesn't disguise how bad this football team is. The Jets have a great football team. They just don't have a quarterback with Aaron Rodgers injured. But if Zach Wilson plays like he did in the second half against the Chiefs last Sunday Night Football, the Jets have a playoff contending team. It's all a matter of, will Zach Wilson get that job done? I think he does enough to help the Jets defeat the Broncos with that +2 score. So one last time, my picks this week, I have the under of 45.5 between the Bengals and the Cardinals. I got the 49ers -3.5 at home over the Dallas Cowboys, a very exciting game that people will be watching. Over 52.5 in Chiefs versus Vikings, another exciting game, two high-powered offenses. And then Patriots -1.5 at home against the Saints, and Jets +2 on the road facing the Denver Broncos. That's going to do it for me on today's show. I'm Matt Matera with PewterReport.com. Pewter Picks and Props Week 5 is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code Pewter, that's PEWTER. Get in on those pick'em games where you pick the higher or lower on a number of different stats of your favorite players. As long as you pick at least 2, the more picks you make, the more money that you can win. You can get up to 20 times your money based on all of the picks you decide to go with. And of course, don't forget about the insurance if you want to go down that road as well, where if you make 5 picks, if you hit 4 of them, you still win money with the insurance. So those are my picks for this week. I'm Matt Matera with PewterReport.com. If you're not already doing so, please follow Pewter Report on our social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Threads. We are at Pewter Report. Our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. If you want to follow me on my social media, on Twitter, I am Matty, the number 4 _ Matera. That's Matera. On Instagram, I'm Matty _ Matera, Matera. That's going to do it for me this week. Good luck to everybody this week. Let's win some money.